Hi everyone, and welcome back to Autism at Home. My name is Jochebeth Isaacs, and we are answering frequently asked questions on this 27th series of Autism at Home. Now, just recapping, we have answered how to identify if a child has autism, how early should we start looking at getting a diagnosis, are developmental assessments necessary, and in the last video, what is an effective intervention for children with autism? Now, this final frequently asked question, final for now. We can always do a part 2 later if you have more questions or even a live webinar. Do put your suggestions in the comments below. But this final question is what would be an appropriate type of school or how to choose a school for a child with autism. We actually released a series not too long ago, series 23 if I'm not wrong, on preparing for school. And the last lesson was actually all about finding a school. But to answer this question, I need to remind all of us again about the key priorities at the stage of life your child is at. What I mean by that is if your child is between the ages of 0 to 5 years old and you just got the diagnosis of autism, then your main priority should be identifying the developmental gap and trying to narrow and close this developmental gap as quickly as possible. And you'd have the highest chance of doing so in an individualized, one-to-one intensive behavioral treatment program. You can always go back to the last lesson to hear my whole explanation on that. Then, as your child is coming closer to 6 years of age or even from 5 years old, you may start to consider the transition to a school environment. And so the question would be, what type of school would be appropriate and how to choose this school? And of course, to answer this question, we would have to go back to individualizing it to each child. And from our experience, we generally see 3 categories or groups of children. Firstly, those that are perhaps in level 1 of autism, needing support, but perhaps they can learn quite rapidly and their developmental gap is not as significant, and therefore they may need some support, but essentially could benefit from about 80% or more of the mainstream school system. Then it would definitely be recommended to look for a suitable mainstream school. And throughout life as well, from primary school, hopefully secondary school, hopefully university, and eventually getting a meaningful job. Secondly would be the children that are presenting more level 2 symptoms of autism, needing substantial support. And perhaps these children learn more moderately. So there may be still a couple of years gap which they're just not able to close, and they'll require some adaptation and perhaps reducing the subjects that they take so that they have sufficient time to have additional support for these core subjects. Children at this level maybe benefit from about 50% of the mainstream education, maybe specific core subjects like English, maths, and science. They may be able to participate in the general school schedule like recess, PE, and so on. But importantly, they will likely need the support of a school personal learning assistant or a school shadow. This would be likely the reality for primary school and adapted curriculum through secondary, and hopefully learning some sort of tertiary diploma or special kind of vocational learning before they go into an assisted job role in their future. And thirdly would be children that perhaps are demonstrating more symptoms in the level 3 symptoms of autism, and they might need very substantial support. These children may learn much more gradually, they may have quite a significant developmental gap, and they may not be able to communicate verbally and require quite a bit of adaptation to their school curriculum. Children in this category may only benefit about 20% from the mainstream school, which could be the general routine, which means the school schedule, maybe snack time, recess, PE, but they may need full adaptation for the rest of their learning. In this case, special education would seem to be the best option and the most meaningful educational experience for these individual children as well. As professionals and practitioners in the field of autism, as well as being advocates as well, we are all for inclusive education. But at the same time, it really needs to be beneficial and meaningful for our children and has to take into account their strengths, but also their limitations. Just like we wouldn't put a toddler in a secondary school or university because it just isn't age appropriate. In the same way, we need to carefully consider if it's in the best interest of a child, if they are of a certain schooling age, such as 12 or 13 years old, but developmentally they're presenting skills of 2 to 3 years old, then mainstream school or mainstream high school would not be successful or meaningful for them. Well, we hope that helps clarify, and at EAP we've actually recently relaunched our EAP school internally for those of our students who are in that third category I just mentioned. And for some of them, they may take a few years to complete perhaps kindergarten material or year 1 material, and some may only be able to complete up to perhaps year 2 or year 3 curriculum. But we then can focus on other strengths, other learning, other vocational strengths, such as their love for drawing, singing, athletics, and this list goes on. This can go on well into their teenage years and their adulthood and find a meaningful, suitable job that actually works for them. And obviously, they will need long-term care and long-term support. But there is always hope. There's always opportunity for growth and development as long as we are able to focus on maximizing each child's best potential to their best ability and ensure that they and their family have as meaningful a life as possible along the journey. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you in the next series. Do let us know in the comments if there's any topics that you would like us to cover. Autism at Home is brought to you by the Hope Project, which is the non-profit arm of Early Autism Project Malaysia. All the content development, our clinical expertise and time is completely borne by EAP Malaysia, and the production of these videos so far are funded solely through donations and fundraising. If you found these resources helpful and would like to contribute in some way, please do pledge a donation at autismmalaysia.com/The Hope Project. And with that, thank you for your support. And with the amount of interest that we have received online, we've actually started providing online services and have worked over the years with clients in other states of Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Philippines, China, Kuwait, New Zealand, and even Switzerland. So do scan the QR code and get in touch with us for more information. And if you haven't already, do check out our free online resource platform, Autism at Home, which has all the corresponding articles and downloadables for you. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram and Facebook to stay updated. Take good care, and we will see you all soon.